from Sasindran. In this video, we will discuss about the degrees of elasticities of supply. Okay? As we all well aware that the law of supply states that large quantity of a commodity will be supplied at a higher price than at a lower price. When price increases, quantity offered for sale will also increase. Okay? And when price falls, quantity offered for sale or quantity supplied will also fall. Thus, there is direct relation in between price and quantity supplied, means quantity offered for sale by the sellers. Okay? And here we want to discuss about the degrees of elasticities of supply. See, first of all, let us discuss what is price elasticity of supply. Here there are 5 degrees of elasticities of supply. That is perfectly elastic supply, perfectly inelastic supply, unitary elastic supply, relatively elastic supply and relatively inelastic supply. Okay, these are the 5 types, that is 5 degrees of elasticities of supply. These 5 degrees of elasticities of supply can be easily explained with the help of diagrams. Okay? First of all, what is perfectly elastic supply? Let us discuss. Okay? Perfectly elastic supply. Yeah. If a commodity is facing perfectly elastic supply, it is pointed out infinite quantity of that commodity will be supplied, will be offered for sale by the sellers if there is slight incremental change in the level of prices. Therefore, in this particular case, the value of elasticity is equal to infinite. Ready? Here, the value of elasticity is equal to infinite. Yeah. In other words, infinite quantity of that commodity will be supplied when there is slight incremental change in the level of its price. In this particular case, the supply curve has been drawn quite horizontally along the x-axis as shown by a diagram. See the diagram, right? Okay. As usual, in this diagram, x-axis represents quantity of the commodity which is supplied, that is, which is offered for sale by the sellers. Y-axis shows its price, nothing more. See, what I am saying is, if a commodity is facing perfectly elastic supply, infinite quantity of that commodity will be supplied, will be offered for sale by the sellers. In this particular situation, the supply curve has been drawn. See, quite horizontally along the x-axis. The value of the elasticity here is equal to infinity. infinity. Okay, infinite quantity, limitless quantity will be offered for sale if there is a slight change, that is incremental change in the level of price. Right? Nothing more to explain. And see, the second type of elasticity of supply is perfectly inelastic supply. Okay, if a commodity is facing perfectly inelastic supply, its supply remains unchanged whatever may be the price offered. Okay, yeah, the quantity offered for sale or quantity supplied remains constant whatever may be the level of prices. Here the supply curve has been drawn quite vertically along the y-axis. Okay, no elasticity can be seen, no changes can be seen in the level of quantity which is supplied by the sellers. Okay, that technical concept can also be explained with the help of a diagram. Okay, just see the diagram. The second type of elasticity of supply is perfectly inelastic supply. Okay, by the concept perfectly inelastic supply we mean if a commodity is facing perfectly inelastic supply, okay, its supply remains constant, remains unchanged if there is high incremental change in the level of prices. Here the supply curve has been drawn quite vertically along the y-axis. Yeah. Supply, quantity supplied remains unchanged, say OQ. Supposing the initial price which is fixed by the sellers may be, say, OP. At OP price, the quantity which is offered for sale is OQ. Right? And it should be noted here that if the price of that commodity increases or increased from OP to say OP1, see, the quantity offered for sale or supplied remains unchanged. The quantity remains unchanged. Yes. Here the value of elasticity of supply is equal to 0. Elasticity of supply is equal to 0. Yeah, no changes can be seen if a commodity is facing perfectly inelastic supply. Okay, here the supply curve has been drawn quite vertically along the y-axis. The value of elasticity is equal to 0. Very simple. And the third type of elasticity of supply is unitary elastic supply. Okay, we all know that as and when price rises, quantity supplied will also rise. Okay, that is what is called the law of supply. More and more quantity will be supplied or offered for sale when price rises, or large quantity will be supplied at a higher price than at a lower price. That is why here it is said there is direct relationship in between. There exists a direct relationship in between price and quantity supplied. Very simple. Here the value of elasticity is equal to 1. That is, if a commodity is facing unitary elastic supply, okay, the value of elasticity is equal to 1. Yeah, that so-called concept, unitary elastic supply, can also be illustrated with the help of a diagram. See, the third type of elasticity of supply is unitary elastic supply. See, by unitary elastic supply we mean as and when price of a commodity changes, that is increases, the quantity supplied or the quantity offered for sale will also increase by that much. Yeah, there is direct proportionate change in the level of prices and the quantity supplied. In short, the percentage change in price is equal to the percentage change in quantity offered for sale. Therefore, the value of elasticity of supply is equal to 1. Yes, ready? This concept, the unitary elastic supply, can be very easily illustrated with the help of a particular diagram. Just see the diagram. Okay? Here, the quantity supplied, has been represented along the x-axis and price of the commodity is measured along the y-axis. See, here we want to explain the concept of unitary elastic supply. We all know that the typical supply curve always slopes upwards or positively from left to right, showing that when price rises, quantity supplied will also rise. Okay, this is the shape of a typical supply curve. See, the supply curve SS has been drawn upwards or positively from left to right, indicating that as and when price rises, quantity offered for sale will also rise. Supposing if a commodity is facing unitary elastic supply, see, the initial price which is determined is, say, OP. At OP price, say, OQ quantity of the commodity which is supplied. At OP price, OQ level of output will be offered for sale by the sellers. Nothing more. And further, suppose if the price of the commodity increases from OP to, say, OP1, yeah, here the quantity which is offered for sale will also increase by that much. Yeah, there should be, yeah, the price of the commodity increases from OP to OP1. This much incremental change can be seen as per this diagram. Here, if price of the commodity increases from OP to OP1, the quantity which is offered for sale or supplied by the sellers is increased from OQ to OQ1. See, this much incremental change can be seen. Here, it should be remembered here that the distance between P1 should be exactly equal to the distance between QQ1. Here, the elasticity of supply or the value of elasticity is equal to 1. Okay? And the fourth type of elasticity of supply is relatively elastic supply or elastic supply. Okay? Here, the percentage change in quantity supplied will be more than the percentage change in its price. Yeah. Okay, the percentage change in quantity which is offered for sale will be greater than the percentage change in its price. Here the value of elasticity of supply is greater than 1. Okay, yeah, that concept also can be easily explained with the help of a particular diagram. Just see the diagram, right? Yeah. The fourth type of elasticity of supply is relatively elastic supply. Here the value of elasticity is equal to greater than 1. The value of elasticity is greater than 1. Yeah. If a commodity is facing relatively elastic supply, the value of elasticity is greater than 1. It means that the percentage change in quantity supplied will be greater than the percentage change in price. Okay, just see with the help of a diagram. Okay, see, just listen. Yeah, in this figure also, see, x-axis represents the quantity of the commodity which is supplied, quantity supplied, and y-axis shows the price. Our point here is relatively elastic supply. I told you, percentage change in quantity supplied will be much more than the percentage change in price. Here, the elasticity of supply is, this is the relatively elastic supply curve. Supposing at OP price, see, this much quantity of the commodity will be offered for sale, say OQ. And if the price of the commodity increases from OP to say OP1, this much incremental changes. If the price increases from OP to OP1, the quantity which is supplied will also increase from OQ to OQ1. This much incremental change in the level of quantity supplied can be seen if a commodity is facing relatively elastic supply. Right? Here the value of elasticity is equal to, or the value of elasticity is greater than 1. Here the value of elasticity is greater than 1. Yeah, the notable point here is the distance between P1 is much less than the distance between QQ1, or the distance between QQ1 is higher or greater than the distance between PP1. Okay? Listen. The fifth type of elasticity of supply is relatively inelastic supply. Here the value of elasticity is less than 1. It implies that if a commodity is facing relatively inelastic supply, percentage change in supply will be much less than the percentage change in its price. Okay, very simple. This concept relatively inelastic supply can also be explained with the help of a simple figure. Just see the diagram. Okay. Yeah, as usual, x-axis represents the quantity of the commodity which is supplied. Y-axis shows the price of the commodity in question. What I am saying is, if a commodity is facing relatively inelastic supply, the supply curve, see, the supply curve will be comparatively more steeper. Yeah, like this. And suppose at OP price, the quantity which is supplied is OQ. Okay? And if the price of that commodity increases from OP to say OP1, this much incremental changes. The quantity supplied or the quantity which is offered for sale increased from OQ to OQ1. The distance between P1 will be comparatively much higher than the distance between Q1. In this particular case, the value of elasticity is less than 1. Yeah. These are the 5 degrees of elasticities of supply. If you like this video, give me a big thumbs up. And please don't forget to subscribe my channel. Very important topic. Types of elasticities of supply. Okay? Have a nice day. Thank you very much.